إنجليزي.
Yeah, got you. We are live. All right. So just wait a few moments for some people to join us, and then inshallah we'll get started.
الاي بي 5 احنا على الهوا.
Yeah, we're live. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
EB5 is a mess right now.
Is it still 17 or 1 million?
It's 1 million. It's 1 million right now for direct. Okay. It is Thursday, January 13th in this new year, 2022. My name is Naif Mubarak from Mubarak Law, and we have Safa Matar here, who's also a great member of our team. Thanks, Safa. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Good. I appreciate you joining me. I asked you maybe 5 minutes ago, but I think the people are tired of seeing me on here. So thanks. And inshallah, we're going to try to do a كم من سؤال بالعربي الليلة and talk to you guys visa استثمار للE2. So إذا عندكم أي سؤال تفضلوا. أنا راح أحاول أتكلم بالإنجليزي والعربي وسفاء راح تساعدني إن شاء الله. Okay. So E2 visa. What is the E2 investor visa? This was designed to help, stimulate investment and economic growth between the countries. So many countries had to sign an agreement with the United States and vice versa to allow their citizens to invest in each other's countries. Like, let's start with what is actually the E2.
Okay, فيزا المستثمر عبارة عن فيزا تعطى لبلدان معينة بناء على علاقات تجارية أو اتفاقات تجارية بيننا وبينهم.
And so you can invest in the business, and this will lead to the ability to live and work here in the United States, including for your spouse and any children under the age of 21. It's a great option for a lot of people.
فهي عبارة عن فيزا استثمار. هي حل كتير كويس إنك تيجي تعيش في أمريكا. بتعطى كمان بيستفيد منها كمان الزوج أو الزوجة والأطفال تحت السن 21.
And even the spouse, unlike some of the other visas, the spouse would be eligible for a work permit, which is an amazing benefit where they can work anywhere. They're not limited to the investment or the company.
كمان الحلو في هاي الفيزا كمان انها بتعطي للزوج اللي هو بده يعني ترايد على الفيزا هذه، بتعطيه حق التصريح العمل وبهيك بيقدر يشتغل.
So we do have some people saying hello. Mohammed, long time. We haven't seen you on here. Thanks for joining. And Madame Sanat, we have her here. Thanks for joining. And then if anybody has questions. So what are some of the requirements? So you're a citizen of the country. We know we have that. Another requirement is that you're coming to invest in the United States to direct or develop a business enterprise.
اوكي. طلبات الفيزا هاي او المتطلبات تبعتها، اول إشي لازم تكون مواطن من البلد اللي احنا في لنا علاقات معها، وطبعا هاي بنشيك عليها right away لما بتقولنا انت من اي دولة.
We have the whole list كاملة موجودة على الويب سايت mubaraklaw.com. To treaty list. يعني مثلا some examples مصر، الأردن، المغرب، إيطاليا، إسبانيا موجودين على هالليست. So أي واحد مواطن من a citizen from this place can proceed with the E2. Another requirement is that you are in the process or you have invested in the United States.
يعني المتطلب الثاني انك تكون already انت استثمرت في business او في شغل او بدك تستثمر في هذا الشغل.
So this is the question we get most. How much? Is this $1 million? Is this 10,000? What is the minimum number that we need?
السؤال اللي بنطرح دائما قديش مبلغ الاستثمار هذا.
So there's not an exact number in the law. يعني ما في رقم معين بالقانون. هي formula. Must be substantial and must not be marginal business. So let's talk about substantial.
يعني ملهاش لها حد أعلى ولا حد أدنى. المفروض تكون مبلغ منيح بدك تحطه بالبزنس. وايش كمان not
substantial. The substantial means that it's going to be sufficient. The money you're putting is sufficient for the proposed business.
يعني اذا بدك تفتح شركه كبيره بدك تاخذ على هوا الشركه الكبيره. مزبوط. يعني
so if you're opening a hotel, right, if you're going to open a hotel, for example, you can't say I'm going to do it with $20,000. It's not really substantial enough to maintain that. So your investment should match that. And we also want to make sure it could support the family that you are trying to bring with you too. So
كمان المبلغ هذا مش بس بده يفتح لك البزنس، كمان بده يدير باله عليك لغايه ما يقلع البزنس هذا او يكبر البزنس هذا. يعني ما فيك تيجي ب$20,000 بدك تفتح بزنس وتدير بالك على العيله وتعيش لك 6 شهور لغايه ما يطلع البزنس مثلا.
So we want to make sure that the investment that you have is enough for the business and enough to pay the beneficiary, which is essentially you.
فلازم نتاكد انه المبلغ اللي انت بدك تستثمره مرتب او منيح بيناسب البزنس اللي بدك تعمله يعني.
The other question is the business cannot be marginal. يعني ما في شركة أو المشروع تكون ضعيف. It cannot be marginal. And basically, if you have a company بدون شغيلة بدون موظف, يعني they're going to say this is a small company ضعيفة. And so you have to make sure that we like to see at least 2 to 3 employees. I mean, it can be part-time, but you're having some type of impact on this, and it's creating some impact locally.
الشغل كمان اللي بدك تعمله لازم يكون معقول يعني مش ضعيف زي ما قال نايف. ضعيف بما معناه انه ما في السير يعني تفتح دكانه يعني بعربيتنا احنا وتقول this is my business. ما بزبط. لازم يكون بزنس مرتب، في عندك على الأقل موظفين، حتى لو كانوا الموظفين part time بيمشي الحال معك.
Okay, so those are some of the things we look at for the investment amount.
هذا بالنسبة فقط للمبلغ اللي أنت بدك تستثمره.
That's why when you do ask us a question. Excuse me?
نحكي عن السورس.
Yes, that's coming up next. So next thing, we know how much where the money is coming. We have to talk about the source of funds. This meaning that these are legal monies. Where did they come from?
صح. يعني في تشانك هيك كبير من هاي الفيزا لازم نتعرف من وين اجت المصاري. المصاري لازم تكون قانونية، وبمعنى قانونية بفسر لكم نايف يعني مصدر لازم يكون مبين من وين.
Yeah, there's a paper trail, right? So the paper trail, basically, I don't know why, Safa, we don't have your name here. Let me add your name here. So, sorry about that.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Okay, got it. There you go. So, the source of funds. I said here, this is a very long name, E2 Visa Immigration Updates for you. But in the source of funds, where's the paper trail? Where is it coming from? And this is the hardest thing that our clients can struggle with at times, where they have $10,000 from each uncle, and then they go put it in the bank, and we're supposed to explain that to the U.S. government, but that doesn't work that way. And I'll give you some good examples of a good source of funds after Safa translates. Yeah.
مصدر المصاري لازم يبين بالورق وبالوثائق من وين طلعت، يعني من وين اجت مثلا $10,000 من وين اجوا هال10,000. اذا باع عقار بده يكون معنا ورق العقار، ورقة البيع، المصاري تشيك انحطت في البنك والمصاري تحولت على بنك اوف امريكا.
So as Safa is explaining, that's the kind of things that we use for documents to show source of funds, like the paper trail. Is that going to be a sale of land? Is it going to be a gift? So the good thing about the E2 that's very nice, let's say you're a young couple or you want to move to America and you don't have the money, you can have a family member or friend give you a gift of the money, but they will have to show the source of funds as well.
مصدر المصاري مثلا ممكن يكون زي ما حكيت انه ممكن يكون باعت عقار، ممكن يكون هدية انعطت لك من فاميلي ممبر، من ابو، من ام مثلا. لما بتنعطى الهدية هذه هلا بصير صاحب الهدية هو اللي بده يثبت لنا من وين اجت المصاري هذه.
Thank you. And then the business must be real and operating, right? So this is where it kind of looks at the employees again. Is there any employees? This is not a passive investment. You know, putting money in the stock market is not an operating business, right? something where there's going to be transactions and things that's going on.
البزنس لازم يكون بزنس شغال مش سوري، يعني مش بدك تشتري شركة وتقول this is my business، لا مش بدك تشتري بيت. في كثير أنا ونايف وصلنا أسئلة إذا اشتريت عقار is this my business، صح؟
Right. Or can I just create a business and if I put money in the bank, like, you know, some countries have these lax rules where money in the bank is enough, but that doesn't work here for us. There's a lot of requirements, and it has to be for those who are seriously willing to invest and to take risks. Obviously, there's no guarantee in your business. There's no guarantee in your visa. So it's something that somebody should take serious and choose an attorney that they're comfortable with.
زي ما حكى نايف يعني البزنس لازم يكون حقيقي وواقعي وفي ناس شغالة فيه ومش صوري. هاي يعني هيك هي مش صوري أبدا بزنس وفي ناس شغالة وبتقبض ومش صوري.
So let's talk about how does somebody apply for the E2. There's two ways, what we call a consular process or change of status.
في طريقتين لتعمل الإيتو فيزا، يا إما بدك تدخل عن طريق السفارة تقدم عليها، يا إما بدك تغير صفتك الرسمية في البلد هون.
And so the change of status is when you enter the U.S. on a other type of visa, like let's say a tourist or a student visa, you do have the ability to change status if, go ahead, Safa, I'll do that. So change of status, you have the ability to apply for change of status if you entered on the passport for which makes you eligible for the E.
هلا لما بدك تغير الفيزا الى E2 وانت في الولايات المتحدة لازم الجواز اللي دخلت عليه. احنا بنحكي الكلمة هاي علشان في ناس sometimes بيكون في عندها جنسيتين. الجواز اللي دخلت فيه على أمريكا هو الجواز اللي احنا كدولة عندنا علاقة تجارية مع البلد اللي هو جاي منها.
So we have a lot of clients that are Venezuelan and Italian. For example, if they entered the U.S. on the Venezuelan passport, but they have the Italian passport, it doesn't matter. I cannot change their status here because they entered as Venezuelan. So it really does depend on which passport you entered to do a change of status.
المثال اللي أعطاه إنه مثلاً عندنا كتير زباين إحنا اللي هو عنده جواز فنزويلي وجواز مثلاً إيطالي. إذا دخل على الفنزويلي ما فينا نساعده، لازم يدخل على الإيطالي عشان نقدر نعمل له الانفستر فيزا.
So sometimes, a lot of times, these E2 countries have like ESTA, right? And even ESTA is another thing where we cannot change status. ESTA is the digital applying for visa. You just come and you get 3 months, but you cannot change status or extend status on ESTA.
اللي معاهم جوازات أوروبية كمان الأستا اللي بده يدخل على اللي بيسموه إحنا فيزا ويفر، يعني ما معتاز فيزا ليدخل على البلد. هذه ما فينا نساعده كمان فيها، لازم يكون حاطط فيزا على جواز السفر، داخل على السفارة وطالب فيزا B1 B2 مثلا.
Okay. So the consular process is similar to filing with USCIS, except we file the package to the consulate where you'll be having your interview.
إذا بدنا نفوت عن طريق السفارة نفس البروسيس تبع هون في جوا أمريكا ولكن عن طريق السفارة.
But you will have an interview typically where they will review the documents and ask you questions about your business. In the change of status, there is no interview here in the US.
هلا الفرق تقريبا الوحيد اللي بيناتهم انه بالسفاره بدك تروح تعمل انترفيو، بدك تحكي على البزنس وبده يكون معك الباكج اللي بدنا نقدم لك اياه. اما في ولا يعني تروح in person على السفاره، اما هون كلياته عن طريق البريد ما في انترفيو.
Yeah, the other downfall, I guess it's a positive for the consulate and not a positive for change of status, is the ability to travel in and out.
كمان في حسنة كمان اللي هي إذا أنت بتاخد الفيزا عن طريق السفارة، الفيزا اندقت في جواز السفر so you can يعني تسافر تروح وترجع. أما إذا في أمريكا رح يطلع لك الأبروفل هاي صالحة فقط جوا أمريكا. once دعست برا أكمل.
Yeah, so if you remember when right, what Safa was about to say is once you leave the US, you are no longer going to have the ability to come back on an E2. So for those who've been coming to this country for a long time, remember those white papers, the I-94? that's basically what your change of status is giving you, that you are authorized to stay here in this status for 2 years. It's not a visa allowing you to go in and out of our borders.
يعني الجيل القديم اللي بيوعى على الكارت الابيض هلا ما عاد موجود الكارت الابيض. الكارت هذا لما بتدخل من المطار كانوا يعطونا كارت ابيض، هلا كلياته اونلاين. الكارت الابيض هو هذا اللي راح يكون الاي 2 اللي راح تاخذها لما بتاخذ الابروفل.
And it's just a status authorizing you to stay. It's not a visa.
هاي مش فيزا، هاي فقط زي هيك اقامتك في البلد هون، انه انت قانوني. بس اذا بدك تطلع لازم تدخل عن طريق السفاره.
The other thing to know, some countries have different rules versus other countries. For example, an Italian can get a multi-entry visa where they can go in and out on the E2, where the Egyptians have single entries.
كمان السفارات عشان الفيزا مثلا إيطاليا بتعطيك أكثر من دخول على البلد، multiple entries. مصر واحدة، يعني بتطلع على السفارة بتختم الفيزا بجواز السفر، بتفوت على أمريكا مرة واحدة. إذا مضطر تسافر مرة تانية بدك تعمل مرة تانية تدخل على السفارة وتطلب تجديد
For a lot of our Egyptian clients, it doesn't make a difference for them to do change of status or not, because even if they had the visa, they couldn't really come and go. So a lot of them like the change of status option.
الإيجيبشن؟
Yeah.
الإيجيبشن اللي بنعملهم الاي 2 فيزا عادة ما بتفرق معهم، يعني لأنهم ما بيسافروا يعني، ولا واي؟
The reason that it doesn't matter to do change of status or not is because even if they got the visa, every time they leave, they still have to go through the embassy anyways.
للمصريين بفضلوا هون، لأنه كل ما بده يسافر بده يرجع يختم جواز السفر مرة ثانية بالفيزا، فبفضلوا change of status هون.
So when we talked about people sometimes having two citizenships, for that reason, we might want to compare which one might have the better E2 if they both qualify. Maybe you have an Egyptian, maybe you have an Italian, but at this point, maybe we would definitely want to apply on the Italian.
كمان لما الشغله اللي بنطلع عليها انه بنشوف الجوازات اللي موجوده عندك، وبنختار لك اي احسن سفاره، يعني اي احسن جواز ممكن تدخل فيه، حتى لو البلدين اللي معاهم علاقات تجاريه او معاهدات تجاريه. يعني المصري بنفضل ندخله على الايطاليان باسبورت علشان حيبقى عنده multiple entries.
So there's been some issues lately because of COVID and getting appointments. And unfortunately, every embassy or consulate is different. So instead of waiting a few weeks for appointment, a lot of things have become 6 months to a year in some cases.
المشكلة هلا في السفارات انه بسبب كوفيد ما في مواعيد، اللي كان ياخذ منا شوية اسابيع هلا الموعد عم بياخذ شهور.
Yeah. So you want to be able to start now. Like if you're planning on trying to bring your kids and your family in the summer on the E2 or next year, January, I mean, really you need to start yesterday. So
هلا إذا في عندكم النية إنه من مثلا تدخل على البلد هون على E2 فيزا مثلا للصيف، بدك من هلا تشتغل عليه.
We have to start right away.
لأنه بدنا ندور حتى كمان أي سفارة في بعض ما حكيناش عنها هذه يمكن لسه، إنه بعض السفارات كمان لسه مش عم تقبل ال E2 لسه.
Yeah, there's a lot of places, right? Because of COVID, they're not even doing appointments.
فبدنا نضطر ندور لك على شو أقرب سفارة ممكن تاخذ الطلب تبعك.
So that's kind of what we're dealing with COVID and the consulates, is some of them are not even making appointments, as Safa mentioned, and I was going to ask her, what is some of the biggest hurdles our clients are seeing right now? And she's probably going to answer, that specific thing. We do have somebody saying that the Safa is the best out there. I definitely agree. And the reason we're doing an E2 today is because we had an approval this week that Safa and I worked on, and it was a little bit complicated and a little bit interesting. Yeah, and we had to get creative, but we did. We thought about it, and we went back and forth numerous times, and alhamdulillah, we got the approval, and the client is now here, and they have now their change of status, and hopefully their family would follow. So congratulations to the client and to Safa and all of us who've been working hard. So thank you, Safa, for that hard work on that case. We did also yesterday have since an approval on a marriage case. really nice young couple. They hired us after they filed. They had some requests for evidence and some problems filing it on their own. We came into the process in the middle, but we attended the interview and they received an approval the same day. So congratulations to those clients. We're happy to be starting the year with such good success. We know that the start of the year and Christmas,
few hours actually on the fish.
a lot of people were out sick. So we're happy to be here and be healthy and continue to work on that cases. Safa, what advice as far as preparing evidence or things somebody should know when they're going to pursue an E2?
أهم شيء عندي ال source of funds. من أين لك هذا بالعربي الفصيح. الكيس اللي حكينا عليها هلا كانت من يمكن من أصعب الكيسز اللي كانت عندنا، لأنه كمان السورس اوف فند كان من أكثر من مكان. الهدايا من أكثر من شخص، من الأهل، من الإخوان، من الأصحاب. ففي كان a lot of
involvement
كثير paperwork، وكان صعب إنه تجيب بالملي. يعني إذا هم الأربعة بدهم يورجوني أصلاً مصاري الأربعة من وين إجت. وفي ناس متحفظة، في ناس ما بتحب تورجي من وين إجت المصاري، في إخوان ما بيعرفوش هذا شو عنده هذا شو عنده. فكانت شوية challenging عن جد.
So for us, we always try to find somebody with like, okay, did you ever receive property that you sold? Like, where is one transaction that can justify all of this? Exactly. But I mean, we're not saying it's impossible. Obviously, we had to do extra work, but we did it.
والله كانت صعبة. We did it.
It was very. We're very happy for this individual, and it shows, that it can be done, especially if you have a strong support and diligent people, like really piecing together like a puzzle where all of this came from. As far as the office, we have some changes, like docket wise. We're having new software for anybody who's our clients. We're hoping the software is going to be easier for you in the future, and to upload documents and to check updates. That will be automatic with USCIS and the websites. And that's it, really. I mean, if you have more questions for E2 or for me or for Safa, please feel free to message us. We will do a Facebook Live soon again. If you have any suggestions on the topic, we're happy to answer them. It's been a while since we had another guest or lawyer outside of our office. Safa, any recommendations or what people might want to learn about family law, criminal?
I think family law.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a family law attorney and talk about children custody and divorces. And even a lot of times there's a lot of overlap with immigration and divorces because we do so many marriage-based cases. So it is an important topic. Anybody who is going through divorce and going through an immigration proceedings, you also have options and rights. Make sure that you speak to somebody.
Thank you for mentioning that, actually. النساء اللي برا لا تخافوا.
Not just women, but mostly
women. لا تخافوا. ما في حدا بسفر حدا.
Yeah, so make sure you speak to an attorney, know your rights. You don't have to stay in an abusive relationship. You don't have to stay in any relationship you don't necessarily want to. So speak with an attorney and see what your options are. Okay, we have some more messages. Thank you, Ahmad, and everybody else. And Safa, thank you again for doing this last minute.
Thank you.
And I hope everybody has a great day and a good weekend. Bye-bye.